What is stopping you from living the life that you want? This is such a heavy question because it means getting really honest with yourself about the excuses that you're making and maybe even the roadblocks that you've put in front of yourself that you maybe are avoiding and you don't want to get over. So, I want to ask again, what is it that is stopping you from living the life that you want? In this conversation with my friend Kathey Rodriguez, we talk about what it's like to be an empty nester, what she learned along the way, and what you can do to prepare yourself to live that life that you want, because your life does not stop at 50. Her blog, Peppy Fit Foodie, is all about what she experiences on a daily with what she's cooking, the exercises she's doing, the experiences she's having, and she shares that with you to show you how she's still living her life to the fullest. In one of her most recent blog posts, she shares her experience of the shopping formula that I created, and I love it because she has photos there of these beautiful pieces that she found. There's one that if you go on Instagram, you'll see she's in this beautiful dress, and it's like a halter top dress, animal print. She's got black booties. She looks so powerful. And in the blog post, she also writes about what didn't work and why. And I love that because as you're trying to figure out who you are and what pieces work for you, you need to find what does work, but you also need to know what doesn't work and why, so you can avoid that next time and make better purchases and find pieces that just really fit you. If you ever doubted your ability to start over again or try something new, stay with me for this conversation with Kathey Rodriguez. The hot topics that we cover are embracing change when it comes to your age and your body, what it's like to go from a clinical researcher to a full-time mom with twins, how to find your tribe at any stage of your life, and the tips to capture every moment but still being present with your life. While you're listening to this conversation, if you hear anything that resonates with you or you think somebody in your life could really use this information, please share the podcast. There are not a lot of influencers in our space that actually talk about aging or talk about being an empty nester. So I know you're going to listen to a lot of pieces of advice that you're going to find inspirational and useful. Yay! I'm so excited to have you on and we can talk more because I feel like we can talk about everything. You are like, I mean, it's called the Lifepreneur Project, but you are really a lifepreneur. Like everything that you're doing is revolved around you being authentic to who you are, helping inspire others to show up as themselves as well. I think that's really important. And before we even start with anything, because our audience doesn't know you, can you share with us why you started a blog and who you are?
Sure. I am, well, this year, well, actually Monday, so in a few days, I'm 56 years old. And I started doing my blog because I have twins and I just have twins. So just those are the only kids we have. And they went away to college. And so, I had watched other women before me, the struggles that they had, when the kids went away, even the ones within my own circle of friends. And so I actually had somebody who was also a blogger way before me. She encouraged me for 3 years to do it because she felt, and what she saw was that I did it a little different than most women. I set goals for myself. I had things on my agenda before my kids went away because I knew it was going to go from a really busy house to empty because they were going away to college. So both of them. So not close by, not down in Seattle, an hour away. So I had one go to Pullman and the other one go to the East Coast to Baltimore. So I needed to figure out who I was going to be, what I was going to do when I became an empty nest mom.
I
So
think that's such a great journey to share with people. I see my baby girl right now and I can't even imagine what it's going to be like when she's like a little adult and I see her as a little, mini person, like an actual person. And when you started your blog, so you started it because they left, you wanted to share your journey. What were you writing about when you first started?
I think my very first blog post was called, geez, it's like had something with Ally McBeal in it um, because it was like, I didn't want to be, oh my God, my kids are gone, cry, 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 sob, 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 poor me, and then, be a couch potato. I've always been very fit and very active. And when I decided to become a stay-at-home mom, I didn't become, eating bonbons while the kids were at school kind of mom. I volunteered and, I organized a lot of stuff for the schools at various stages because we moved like multiple times. So I got to do that at every different school district. Um, but it was more, the first one was about that first month, you know, and I wrote it, like a year later. So it was still fresh, but I made it through that first year. And it was all about what I did to survive that first month, because I think that is the hardest for women. My husband travels for his job, so I have that factor as well. So literally, he took one of our twins back east, and I took the other one to Pullman. So I did the drive, the overnight, and then hug and kiss him goodbye the next morning, and or well, midday, because teenagers. And so I came home, and literally it was the dog and myself for 2 weeks.
Oh,
And I knew that was going to happen, so I prepared myself. I've always been like a goal person. So I set a goal for myself to try something I've never done before. And I'd always wanted to try. So that would give me a different focus. So I wouldn't focus so much on the empty, quiet house, but something new for my own journey. And so that was when with another friend who was going through the same thing, although her nest wasn't empty, it was her first one away. And we did sup yoga. So that's, for those of you guys don't know, that is yoga on a stand-up paddleboard in the middle of the lake. So, I'm a swimmer, so that wasn't, and I do yoga, but it's just a whole nother kettle of fish doing it on yoga on a paddleboard. So
is that how you met Georgina?
No, actually, I met Georgina like a couple of years before at the gym where I work. And I was doing yoga, and she was a yoga instructor. There was two different ones that I usually went with. And so I knew her before, but she'd always had this sup yoga. And I'm like, yeah, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not quite confident because I was just starting my yoga journey. And, but yeah, that's how we became even better friends. It's just our love for that, because anything having to do with the water, I'm a water baby. So.
Oh my gosh, I've been wanting to go. Oh my goodness, so many times. And then I just, for whatever reason, the days that she had it, it didn't line up with my day. And then I become pregnant, and then I couldn't do it. And I have a baby, so I need to find a babysitter. But that is on my bucket list. And it's something that's so easy to just go out and do. And I'm not very flexible, but I still want to do it just to say I did it, and I want to experience that.
Well, one of the things that I love about Georgina, and I mean, she's my best friend now, so it's a little different, a little biased. But what I love about her as a yoga instructor is she's very authentic. She is going to encourage you, not push you. Her yoga classes are about your journey, not hers. Mm-hmm. And she's what I hope to be, because, I've taken yoga from a lot of different people over the years now, at a lot of different places. And that is one of the things that I absolutely love about her. She will give you multiple levels within the same poses. And so if you're not ready to go to the next step, you don't have to. And it's a no judgment zone. And that's what we need more of, is the no judgment zone. So, in all our lives.
That's so beautiful. I agree completely. And you mentioned before I recorded the call that you are going to be certified in yoga. Is yoga something, okay, so what things, including yoga, is this something that you did before blogging and before the kids left? Or are these some of the things that you discovered after?
A little of both.
Okay.
So I am a swimmer by nature, and that's what I did at the gym. I was the aquatics, I still am the aquatics director, and I taught kids to swim. That's actually how I got the job. Is I actually moved here from Iowa and had joined the gym. It was just, I was so excited because it was down the street. It wasn't that far. It's like 3 miles. So, and it had a pool. And as a swimmer, I mean, I grew up competitive swimming in Southern California. And so for me, a pool was a big part of my workout. So having an indoor pool that I could do year round versus in Iowa, the pool was outside and only open during the, summer months. So I joined the gym, and I would come there, during the day when the kids were at school, and I'd work out and I'd do laps in the pool, and then I'd go do my other stuff. And then in the evenings, I'd bring my boys and teach them to swim in the pool. And one day they approached me and said, "Hey, we need some swim instructors. Would you be interested? Because we noticed you're kind of here a lot doing all." And I said, "Sure, if I can do it around my kids' schedule." And so eventually, aquatics director grew the program, blah, blah, blah. But our sons were in middle school, and I went frisbee golfing, playing frisbee golf. I'd never done it before. It's a thing. It's interesting. We did it, and it was like through the woods and stuff.
Yeah.
So we get to this log, this stump. And my son jumps off it. My other son jumps off it. And we're with friends, and their kids are jumping off it. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to jump off it. Yeah, not so good idea. I broke my leg.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know I broke my leg. I actually just thought I sprained my ankle. And it wasn't until like a few days later I said, it's still a little swollen. I'm going to go get it, x-rayed. And they said, your leg is broken. So, well, there you go. And the cast came off, and everything was really tight. And I was just exasperated because it's like, geez Louise, and I'm walking into the pool to do more workout in the pool to build the muscle back. And the aquatics instructor, the aquafit instructor, is also a yoga instructor. And it wasn't Georgine, it was another one of our instructors. And she can see the look on my face, and she's like, "Well, what's up?" And I'm like, "Well, everything is so tight. Come to my yoga class." I'd never done yoga before. Like I said, kids are in middle school, cast just came off, and I went into her yoga class. She tailored it because she knew the issues I had. And I've been hooked ever since because it changed how I viewed myself. It gave me a new inner strength. I've always been active and fit, but it was just a different kind of mindset and a different way of looking at things. So, yeah. So now that life has changed in COVID, I've decided to get my certification. So
that's wonderful. You know what? COVID has brought a lot of things to people's lives, but I like how it's opened people up to try different things because we have to get creative, of how we're spending our time, how we're seeing people, what we're doing with our business. Like everything has changed, but it's opening up like our mind to try new things and do things differently.
Yes. Well, and that's, I think, we're never too old to learn. Mm-hmm. I just started working with a life coach. I'm 56. Everybody thinks, oh, she must know everything. Yeah, no, not so much. So it's opened up doors and opened up my mind even more. So to the possibilities that life doesn't stop, as we age. And we don't have to stick with one person as far as ourselves. Mm-hmm. We can grow and evolve at any age.
I think our whole lives, we're always evolving. Like I can't imagine. I'm one of those people that I always have, kind of like how you said you had goals all the time. I always have ideas. I always have goals. I have notebooks all over my desk of all these ideas that I might not get to everything. And I don't see myself ever retiring. I feel like I'm just going to be those people. I'll find ways to work around my job, but it's going to be something where I'm constantly wanting to create. I feel like my mind is just keeps going.
Well, and why limit ourselves?
Yeah.
And especially when we have time. right
Mhm.
now, it's even more, try something new. When you're stuck at home, read a book about something you always wanted to learn about. Watch a YouTube video and try boxing. Yeah, which I love too. So that's fun.
It is so fun. Yoga is something I'm going to talk a little bit about my fitness journey. So I started running when I was 15, and 15 to before baby was born. I just ran. I didn't lift weights, I didn't do yoga. Um I've tried some yoga classes. It wasn't for me. I even did hot yoga. And the reason why it wasn't for me, and it could be that time in my life too. I feel like now it's easier for me to be more present than I was when I was younger, but it was hard for me to stay in the moment. And I felt bad because I yawned a lot when I was in the class, and not because they were boring, but like I wanted to go, go, go. I wanted to run. I wanted to be active. And in yoga, I yawned a lot. I never fell asleep or thought it was boring. my body, that's how it reacted. And there was
Yes.
someone next to me, my friend. She's like, "You're being so rude. The instructor's gonna see you yawn." I'm like, "I'm not trying to be rude. Like, it's not boring. I need to move." Anyways, I feel like now, and then after baby. So then after baby, no, before, when I was pregnant, I couldn't run anymore. And that's actually how I found out I was pregnant, because I'm a runner and I went to the gym. Never in my life, I could be sick and ill, I could still run. And for some reason, when I was running, I was on the treadmill, and within 5 minutes, my body, I don't even know how to explain it. My body literally would not let me run. I don't even know how to explain it, but that, like, I had to stop. And I was like, maybe I'm just having an off day. So the next day, I'm like, I'm going to go back tomorrow. I'm going to do it. And I just walked the rest of the time. So then I go back tomorrow, get in my run, and then 5 minutes in again, my body literally told me I can't run. And then I was craving this chocolate cake. And so I go to the store and I buy this chocolate cake. And I was like thinking about during my run. And then I eat it, and then I felt nauseous. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sick. I was like, I have to go to the doctor. I was like,
Hello.
and then I was like, before I go to the doctor, maybe I should take a pregnancy test. And then I found out I was pregnant. Anyway, so that's how I found out I was pregnant. I couldn't run, but I still wanted to work out. So then I discovered Zumba and fell in love with it. So I was doing Zumba till I was 8 months pregnant. I was a big one in the back, just like bouncing around, like, and now I still can't run because of COVID. So I don't want to take the baby out. So I'm at home, and for the first time in my life, doing at home workouts on video. So anyways, just talking about like fitness and how we're evolving, and I still want to be active, and how I've had to change. But now I feel like I kind of want to try yoga, because I'm doing the videos online, but from after the birth, obviously your body goes through so many changes from birth. I feel like for whatever reason, like parts of my body feel stiff. They don't feel completely together. And I feel like yoga might help with that. Like, I'm doing the workouts, but part of me just feels like I have aches, my neck, and maybe it's from breastfeeding too. Like, I feel like I need to try yoga now.
Well, any kind of stretching, right? Yoga, a lot of stretching in. I do, and it's funny because I actually use a fitness app that has live and on-demand classes. I work at a gym. I use a fitness app, yes, and they know it, because I love that they have walking classes, running classes, lifting classes, strength and core work, yoga classes. They have such variety. But what I love is they have a live community as well. So I can be working out with somebody. I'll never forget. I had a run that I was doing, because they do have run classes. And so if you're building back up for running, or even if you're just walking on a class, when it's a live coach. I love it because I've done runs where I am working out. The coach is in London, and I've got people in Israel, Florida, back east, California, and we're all running at the same time. And you can send pictures, and you can message and do a little encouraging, way to go, in any of the live classes. And it just makes it, when you're by yourself, you don't feel like you're by yourself. The coach can see where you're at, with the GPS. And so when you have a goal, like we're doing sprints, and the coach will tell me, okay, Kathey, especially when it's a smaller class, But okay, Kathey, you're at the corner of this and this for this next sprint. You've got to get all the way to blah, 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 because they can see where I am in my own neighborhood. And they're going, go, 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 you're almost there. And I mean, because it's somebody live in real time in your ear, it makes you do it. But what's really cool is because they also have, it's a live coach, and you can turn your camera on or camera off. It's all your choice. If you're doing a yoga class, they can tell you how to fix what you're doing. So, and one of my favorite classes is actually the deep stretch class, which is kind of a stretching and yoga. So it's kind of a little of both, and that's great pre-run, post-run. So, but yeah, so I kind of do it all because I like it all. I get bored with one thing.
And so for you, now that you have your yoga certification, how are you going to use that? Are you going to do online classes? Are you going to work for somebody else? Are you going to try doing it yourself, like do your own thing? Or what are you going to do?
Still working on that. But for the most part, I think, I want to be able to teach at the gym that I work at. That's a nice option. But more, I want to be a yoga instructor that empowers, encourages, inspires anybody that comes into my class to be more themselves, love themselves. We need to get away from all the identity issues that we have. And I want everybody to feel beautiful in whatever shape, size, age they are. Because, right now we don't have that. In my life coach group, because we had a group before I went to one-on-one, I had women, we were from ages 24 to 56, obviously 56, hello. But the biggest issue a lot of women have was their own self-worth and their own identity, and they don't feel beautiful. And especially, you've given birth, your body changed, you might not have the time, and how do we juggle it all? And how do we learn to love ourselves with the wrinkles, the stretch marks, etc., and not being able to, like you said, as a runner, you're still physically fit and active, but you're not running. That doesn't make you a bad person because you can't run. It doesn't make you a bad person if you can't reach crow as a yoga person. We all have our ages, our stages. And that's where I want to take yoga, eventually, to have empowerment retreats for women that encompasses all parts of where we find our beauty, not only within ourselves, within our fitness, and then our exterior. Because, we all can't just go into a store and find the right outfit. We don't all have that confidence or that gift. We all have our own gifts. And so putting together a retreat for women that brings together other women who have these gifts. Don't ask me to ever do my hair. That's not my thing. I have someone that knows how to do amazing things with hair. That's what she loves to do. That's her passion. That's her purpose. That's her art. So my thing is about empowering, encouraging other women, and hopefully I do that with my blog, and being real and authentic and honest. I just did a post the other day that shows, here's this great yoga pose. I'm doing a handstand and with one leg up when the other one's supported. And the next photo, I literally put the picture of me not being able to do it. And, I get more comments from women outside commenting back to me when I'm real with them and say, you know what, every day is a different day. There's some days you can reach this pinnacle. There's some days your makeup works. So some days your hair works. Some days you get up and you go, that's about it. I got up. I'm going to watch some Netflix. And that's okay too.
I love taking quizzes, so I created my very own style personality quiz. It's only 10 questions long, and you can find out the top pieces to add to your closet for the season and new stores to check out. If you go to myclosetedit.com, you'll find your style personality, and I'd love for you to share it with me. Mine is the creative heart, so I love bold prints, anything dramatic, and super colorful. If you go to myclosetedit.com, you will find out your style personality and the top pieces that you can find for your closet this season.
Oh.
I feel like the yoga part is just one part of your identity of how you're going to help people, because even as you're speaking about all these other sides, like you said, somebody else that does your hair, like for me too, like I don't like doing my hair. I don't know how to do it and I don't care to learn. If you even have like a monthly group where you're teaching yoga monthly, they pay for the month, yoga's there, but every month you also have speakers and you have people that come into your group and talk about the other parts of self-care, because you talked about your retreat and other things that you have going, but that would be amazing. And you have such a great community too.
Well, we are all blessed. We should all do our best, obviously, in our own lives. We have to make decisions and put up our own boundaries, and recognize when relationships are toxic, and recognize also the women that are in our lives, with people in our lives that bring us joy and positivity. And, no negative Nancy's. Sorry.
Yeah. How did you build, you have like your core group of girls. How did you start building your own tribe?
Well, it's funny because we all met through the gym, through yoga for the most part, or running. And, slowly but surely, you get people that come and then people that go. And we just found this group of women, and we are so diverse. It's just, it is truly, we never looked at, our age or our ethnic backgrounds or our socioeconomic background. We love each other because we all identify that we all bring something to the table. And we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses. And, that's what I want women to find in their lives. Men too, but, for me, the focus is women, because I'm a woman. But, we want those people in our lives that are going to just support us, lift us up, and not, bring us down, and not every woman out there has that. I met a random stranger and I walked into a coffee. It's not a coffee store. It's a coffee, it's like where you go to buy all different coffee stuff, equipment. And I walked in and I mentioned that I was a blogger and I was taking some photos and I had some questions. And one of the staff there came up and we were talking, and I mentioned that I also do yoga and fitness, and she shared with me, if this is random stranger, right? Shared with me that she wanted to go to the gym to get healthier and more fit. She was a little heavier, and her best friend told her, well, sweetie, you might want to lose a little weight before you go to the gym. And I just, my mouth dropped. The person who was with me, her mouth dropped. And I went, oh, hell no. You're getting rid of that girl, because nobody should ever tell you that you have to lose weight before you go work out at a gym. And if you're going to a gym that's like that, you need to find another gym. And her coworker behind the desk is like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I just rallied at her and said this and this and this, and she burst into tears and gave me this giant hug. She goes, I've never had anybody tell me that I'm beautiful.
I cannot believe that. That is so sad.
And I'm like, well, then you have the wrong people around you, because I can come in with no makeup. My hair could be like crazy because I just got out of the pool, and my friends don't care if I show up like that for a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
They shouldn't, So, trying to help other women like I said, no matter their age, their stage, feel beautiful,
And
deal with issues from their past as well. So it's all part of it.
do you feel like in all your years, have your friendships also evolved and changed? Like, are you still really good friends with anybody back when you were first pregnant or when the twins were little? Or are you now more with your new tribe of ladies in yoga and working out?
It comes and goes. I think can be when I decided after the boys left, to be focused on my own fitness a little bit, even more than I was. It can be very intimidating. And I'll never forget, I walked up to, a parade in our community, and there were all the band moms. My kids were in band, so I was a band mom too, and all the band moms. And one of the people that I thought as a friend, I walked up and they went, "Well, here's our fit friend." And it wasn't said in a nice way. And I'm like, "Yeah, here's your fit friend." But it can be intimidating when other people can't make those choices, and so they lash out. And so in some of those cases, I realized that I need to just step back because I didn't need that negativity. I wasn't asking them to do my fitness journey and be a part of my fitness journey unless they wanted to. I wasn't telling them that, well, this is what you get for sitting on the sofa, and feeling sorry for yourself because your kids left. I would never say that. But their insinuation was that, it was just, they felt bad about themselves. So that was them lashing out. And I recognize that. Mm-hmm. But I let them dim my light because nobody should dim your light. We should all shine. And there's room for every one of us to shine in our own way. So
friendships are really special. And I don't know about you, but it sounds like you connect easily with people when you are on that same wavelength. Like you really connect with them and you want to help them. You want to find ways to work together, whatever it is. And I feel like I'm sort of like that too. And I feel like with my friendships, I kind of have to find ways of what's kind of going on in my life now and who am I seeing more now. And it doesn't mean like the person I used to hang out with a year ago, I don't hang out with them as much or talk to them. I try to check in with them. And even if we don't see each other for a few months or a year, it feels like no time went by, but it's hard, to manage different friendships because especially now that I'm a mom, it's been really interesting how some friends that I had when I was in high school didn't talk to me at all when I was in my business phase and stuff. And then when I became a mom, they just out of nowhere popped up and like, "Oh, I saw you had a baby. Let's hang out." It's like, okay. And I kind of get it, like kind of when I'm going on with my business projects, I want to be around people doing business at that level where that's what they want to talk about and create. And now as a mom, it's like with my business friends that aren't moms or my friends that aren't moms, I'm not going to go to them and be like, "Oh my gosh, I did not sleep all night again." They're not going to understand. So I'm learning how to still love on my friends from before, but there's different times in our life where it changes a little bit, the amount of time that we spend with people. It's hard because I love all of them,
Exactly. Well, and that's, it was funny because Georgina and I had a discussion about that the other day. She calls me a chameleon. There's, running Kathey, and there's, because I have the group that runs, or there's yoga Kathey, and, this is the other Kathey, and, and you connect with people, and I think when you send out positive and encourage and inspire, encourage people around you, even complete strangers, by saying simple things. I mean, we've gotten away from spreading the positives. It's not hard. The person in front of you in line at the grocery store is wearing the cutest sweater. How hard is it to say, "Oh my God, I love that sweater"? That's it. You don't have to go have a full-on, deep discussion about politics, religion, or, how the Seahawks are doing. Just making a comment, a simple positive, you don't know the impact you make, and you may never know for that person for that day, I've done that, a random person at the grocery store, she had the cutest purple leggings on, this woman. I'm like walking past, go to my self check. I'm like, I love the purple, great leggings. And she came up to me afterwards. She checked out her things. I'm finishing up with mine. And she said, thank you so much. I'm like, for what? She goes, thank you so much for acknowledging my presence on this earth in this moment.
Wow.
I'm like, you're welcome. But whatever was going on in her life, just me saying, hi, I don't know you from Adam, but I really think those leggings are cute, made an impact. Positive. So why aren't we doing that? And I think we need to do that one.
And I think what goes with that is, as much as we connect online, and I love the online community because, like you said, for working out, you can work out with people from different parts of the world, from different states. But at the same time, when you are out of your home and out of your space, instead of having your phone be your world, like, be with the world when you are out, because you can't notice other people when you're on the screen. Like, if you're not intentionally on your phone doing something like working out or putting your blog post up, stop your scroll and take a look around you and take notice of other people in real life as well,
Be in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many times, that was my big thing, I think, recently, is just being more in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
My friends, yes, I'm a blogger. Yes, I love to take photos, and go out and, we go for coffee. Ooh, that's cute, snap, but then put it away.
Yeah.
Don't go, put all the tags on and post it in real life. Post it later. It's not going to make the hill of beans a difference if you post it 2 hours from now when you've left your friend and you're sitting at home with the friend. Because if you're doing this, sorry, you can't see because it's podcast, but if the screen, the whole time, you're going to miss those cues that something's wrong with that friend or that person,
Oh, life and technology.
Yeah. Let me tell you, that was the hardest struggle as a parent.
What was the struggle about it?
Well, we didn't grow up with it. So, we didn't have cell phones until my kids were like 5, and those were those old huge ones.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you only have this for emergencies in case you're stuck on the side of the road in the winter snow in Wisconsin with twin car. Otherwise, it just sits in your phone, in your purse, right? It's, only so many minutes, only so many, little characters. And it's evolved so much, but we always made sure with our boys, because we watched other families, we always made sure that the phone didn't come to the table, any of ours. We had dinner every night. It didn't matter if my husband was traveling. We still had dinner together every night at the table, having talks, having discussions. And the phones didn't come to the table. They were checked, because you can't have a conversation. How do you teach your kids cues, body cues, that they will never learn if their faces are always looking at a screen, and our sons are gamers, obviously evolved because they're 25, but they were gamers. And, when it became that they could game with their friends at the different houses, nobody was together gaming, trying to get them to understand that their verbal cues, what they're saying, they can't see the expression that comment made. They can't see the other person, so they don't know how that comment, negative comment in some cases, affected that other person. And they never thought about it, and so, life outside of here is adventure time and talking. And, I just did that with one of our sons, the one that lives close. He had a week off and he contacted me and sent me a text and said, hey, I got the week off. Let's go adventure. And I picked him up. We took a ferry ride to Vashon Island. Yes, I took pictures here and there, and he's used to it. But otherwise, the phone was in the pocket, and we were walking on the beach talking. And we were talking on the ride to the ferry and on the ferry. And I'd take a couple of photos, and then the phone would go away, and we just talk about everything.
So do you have kind of it sounds like when you are with somebody, you want to be present. So your time when you're on social media and stuff, you try to do it when you're on your own, when you're not like around. That's good. That's really good.
It's hard, because everybody else is, because a lot of times the other part is I'm the one that's the driver here, my driver part. So I get home and they've posted everything. I'm like, oh, well. But, life is, I'd rather catch the moments and be in the moment than worry about posting 5 million posts, in the moment. It's not really in the moment if, you're posting, you're not being in the moment, your social media is being in the moment. So I'm okay with, I don't post as many photos on my stories. I don't get all fancy and everything. It's like, okay, here's what we did. Because I'll share it, but I won't share everything. And, I want people to be encouraged by seeing the adventures I go on and the things that I do. And, but at the same time, it is my own time. And so I'll post at night or post early in the morning. I'm an early riser. So that's generally when I do it. So
that's so wonderful. Those are good reminders. And even being with the baby has been a good reminder of that, just being present, because she grows up like you don't understand till you're there. And I don't want to lose anything like her expression. And when they're little, everything is curious to them. The way they hold something new and they circle it and their eyes. It's the most beautiful moment just watching her see these simple objects as like amazing pieces of art.
Oh, well, and for me, when I called my boss, because, I did clinical research for a career and I traveled all over the country. And so when I called and told her I was pregnant, and she was like, oh, uh-oh, star worker, uh-oh, something's going to happen, because when you travel, it's really hard to do that when you have newborns and you're both traveling, since he travels too. And so when I called her to tell her that, and I had 2 bosses. I had project boss and administrative. And the project boss was not surprised that I decided to stay home when I called her after my maternity leave and said, I'm staying and I'm not coming back. And she said she fully supported me. She was like, you know what? They only have one first step and that first word and, that look, like you said, right? And if we don't see those and somebody else gets to see them, it only happens once, and I'm lucky and I could make that choice. We kind of pre-planned for that because we had 9 years before we had kids. And so when we bought our second house, my husband was going to college after being in the Navy, and we bought a smaller house because I wanted the option. I could have the big house. I could afford it on my salary only. The bank even was like, and the realtor was like, and I said no, because I wanted the option to work full time, work part time, or stay at home when we had our kids eventually. And so we made that choice early enough in our decision making so that when we were surprised with twins, then it made the decision much easier.
How did your identity, because in different parts of our life, our identity changes a little bit because we're evolving, how we were talking about. What was that transition like for you from working full time and then going to just being a mom? Like, when did it hit you kind of where like, wow, I made this decision? Like, how many months in?
Well, ends. So But for me, it was an easy decision because there was two of them. Um, and he traveled with his job, and he did a lot of international then.
Mhm.
So, he'd be gone for 2 weeks at a time. There was no way I could do my job.
Oh.
So, the first 6 months are literally a blur. There was a lot of lack of sleep, and I've got pictures to show me, but my foggy brain doesn't remember the details as much. I do remember details, but when I decided to stay home, the biggest struggle for me was, I was a clinical researcher, so I'm a scientist. So a lot of brain work. I specialized in epilepsy, so highly specialized in addition. And so I was used to my brain being active like that, and I was being a mom. So I tell people, I gave 150% to my job. I gave 150% to my kids. And so I found other ways to challenge my brain. So I started doing genealogy for both sides of our families, which had never been done before by anybody. And I found, and that's way before the internet, age myself, but way before the internet and everything that can be easily searched. You literally it was like solving a crime, right? Not a crime, but you're taking all these clues from all these different places. So I was writing letters to old relatives and going to, the genealogy center and looking at microfilm while my aunt would watch the kids. And then I come home and I compile it and figure out other clues and where to search. And oh my gosh, I'm Irish farmers from Wisconsin. We came through Canada for like 3 of my branches. But my husband's family, wow, that was like eye-opening because, so that was intriguing to me. It's like you find one clue and then find another clue and search somewhere else. And so that's how I kept my brain active while also doing things with my kids. So, I read to them. That's the one thing that we had a friend, a person that worked with my husband, and his wife was a teacher. And he said, I'm going to give you 3 pieces of advice when he found out we were pregnant. He said, read to them, read to them, read to them. And we started reading to the kids when they were months old. I've got pictures of both of them laying on the bed next to me, and I've got a book and I'm reading to them. And, we didn't have them watch a lot of crappy TV. We didn't sit them in front of the TV as a babysitter. We went on adventures. We went to the park. We went to the bookstore. We went to the library. When they were old enough, we'd go to the zoo. And we talk about, I didn't care how old they were. We talk about the animals, and what they did and the part they play. And, eventually once they started reading, which was really young, Josh was 2 when he started reading, and Zach about 6 months behind him. Yeah. Josh was 18 months old when we recognized that he could identify letters, because it blew our minds. It was like, he really didn't just, husband was sitting in his lap, he was sitting in my husband's lap, and we were living in Wisconsin, and my husband was wearing a Green Bay Packer sweatshirt, and he leaned over and goes, P. We're like, that's cute. So the P is, yay, all that work with the little blocks and the foam and the reading. Yay. G. And then my husband went through all the letters and he named them all.
That's amazing. Wow.
Scary is what it is. It was, and we knew we had a challenge, when we recognized that as early as it was. But if I hadn't stayed home, recognize that, so that became finding ways to challenge and encourage them and strengthen their gifts, over the years. We had two mantras as parents. I think I go into it in one of the blog posts. I have a blog post about raising readers because people always asked us, how do you raise kids that, first can read so early and then read so well? And so I kind of go into that because it's, the whole genetics, nature, nurture thing. And as a scientist, very much a part of my belief system. But, one of the things I did was the mantras were, we were raising men, not boys. So when you think that you're raising an adult rather than a child, it's not that you're being their friend and not their parent or anything like that. It's just you approach your responses different. Mm-hmm. And your ideas on, what you're going to emulate and what you're going to show them. Because a child is a sponge and they will pick up everything around them. And so if you show positivity, love, respect for all people around you, that's what your kid's going to absorb. If you love to cook and the boys, I've got pictures of them at 4 years old cooking with me, and they, so that was just our whole thinking. We were raising men, not boys, so, and then the other thing is we were making memories. That was our job. Raise men, not boys, and make memories. So, you can have the fancy cars and the big house, but if you haven't made memories, we did road trips. Like we said, we went to the museums, we made memories, and hopefully it paid off. We'll see. They're 20.
Love that. Well, we're going to wrap this up because we could talk forever. And I just want to acknowledge you for everything that you do, for continually showing up and inspiring others and just being that positive face that we need on Instagram and social media.
Thank you.
So my last question for you is, what advice do you have for people going through pivots and change in their life?
My advice, try everything. You'll find something you love. Don't listen to other people's judgment about what you should be doing. Do it for yourself, and you can do anything. It doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter your age or stage. You're changing, embrace the change, figure out what you want your life to be, and if you want to be a yoga instructor at 56 years old, be a yoga instructor. If you want to travel to Ireland, you want to start a business, do it. Don't let anybody else hold you back. So go for it.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that was such great information. If you want any of the links to what we talked about, which included the blog post about the shopping formula or how we raised kids that are readers, it's going to be down below in the show notes. So go there, click, and you can go directly to that blog post to read it, check it out. There's also links below of where you can find her on Instagram and her website, which it's at Peppy Fit Foodie, both on Instagram and her website. So peppyfitfoodie.com and at Peppy Fit Foodie on Instagram. My 3 biggest takeaways. Number 1 is to never stop setting goals for yourself. I feel like as a creative person, I always set goals for myself, but I know that this is a great reminder because life doesn't stop. When something difficult happens, when a change happens in our life, it's always good to have goals that we can set and we have something to look forward to the next day and something that we can continue working on. So that was such a great reminder for me. The second thing is setting yourself up for success. So in Kathey's case, she knew that she was going to be an empty nester and she prepared for that. She started a blog. She knew that she wanted to get out of the house. She knew she wanted to try something new and share about it. That is a big thing to do, to show up still and set yourself up. And not everything that happens in life is planned, but when you know that there's going to be a big change, what can you do? So for myself, this was great because I know that right now, all of my, well, not all, most of my clients are online with me. I'm working a lot with people in different states. I'm doing workshops. And one of the things I have on my list to set myself up for success for the next level is I know I need to create a space in my home where I can do more videos. Right now, I'm just doing it anywhere, but I want to level it up. I want to decorate my space, maybe get new equipment. So I'm going to actually sit down and make a list of 5 things I want to do to set myself up for success. And number 3, make memories. This one really stuck with me because Noelani, my baby girl, she is 10 months old as I'm recording this podcast. She's growing up so fast. And as a creative person, as a business owner, I get lost in my own world sometimes. Sometimes I'm with her and I'm thinking about my to-do list, or I come up with an idea and I have to write it down. And I constantly have to be reminded and stop myself to be present. So you probably, if you follow me on Instagram, you see a post, you see a video where I say that constantly, like, I want to be present with her and I have to remind myself to do that. So making memories, why is that important? I don't want life to go by and just remember, as much as I love work and I love all of you, I know that I need to make memories with her and I want that. I want to look back and talk about what we did together, what I got to show her, how we played together. So making memories is a really, really important thing. I'd love to know, what did you find most inspiring about this conversation? Share it on Instagram and you can tag me at Tanya B Style and also tag Kathey too so she can see at Peppy Fit Foodie. Remember that every day is a new day to make a positive change in your life. Be that light in your life, Lifepreneur, and I will catch you next time.